Hello everyone, welcome back to the Candy and Doug Show. The little man in the back seat there. In this video we're going to share how our weight has fluctuated since starting a regenerative detoxification lifestyle. For me personally, when I started I probably weighed around 140. When we detox, you're removing obstructions, mucus, toxins from the body, so you're going to break down
or weak tissue.
Yep.
Yeah, and all the extra fat. We have internal fat, external fat, and those are just basically forms of illness. And as we detoxify the body, we're shedding all that stuff, shedding the baggage, I like to call it. It's not even our weight; it's just extra baggage we carry around. So.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of times, and it's not really necessarily fat per se, but edema, because that's one of your defenses or mechanisms your body will use to try to buffer acids.
Totally. It leaches sodium from the bones, and then as we know, sodium creates water retention. So what's happening is your body's trying to buffer acids by creating alkaline water, mineral salts, and water, so it doesn't burn and destroy the tissue.
Yeah, so I have definitely watched my weight fluctuate, and when I detox or take a solid food vacation, I will shed some great deal of waste, and then I will regenerate, and that's when I will build and put on muscle and weight. So
yeah, and when we actually put on weight and build muscle, it's not from animal products like the whey proteins and the synthetic powders, because all those are doing is creating water retention and inflammation within the muscles to create this swollen look, which once again, it's really just inflammation. So the way that we naturally build muscle is just by using our body and getting an adequate amount of amino acids, fatty acids, and primarily carbohydrates from fruits, greens, herbs, vegetables. It's all really simple. Keep it all plant-based. And just to give you guys some insight into my journey, I was living a very, very, very toxic lifestyle for the first 21 years of my life. I make these jokes, like, grew up on Pop-Tarts, Hot Pockets, Pizza Pockets, and corn dogs. And so I didn't even initially get into, say, liquid fasting, but just transitioning from a very sad diet on fast food every day to a raw plant-based diet. I shed weight extremely quickly. I probably eliminated 10 to 15 pounds of impacted waste from my colon, small intestine. So I was about 195 to 200 pounds when I began this journey, and within the first 8 months, I got down to about 140 pounds, which was it felt pretty light, but I felt really good, really good. So much less swelling, so much less inflammation, less tension in my body. I wasn't quite as physically as strong, but the energy levels were exponential, and I could actually move again. I was literally withering away and dying, laying in bed and not being able to stand or move or pretty much do much of anything really. And so my weight really fluctuated initially, and that was pretty much eating as much as I wanted, but just on raw foods that were cleansing the body. And so eventually I started to gain a bit of weight back when I transitioned back into more of the cooked mucusless foods, as the Arnold Arab practitioners say. So like the cooked squash, the cooked sweet potato, and those were a nice way to transition back into more of a rational approach of detox, because I took the first 8 months or so very aggressively, which it was a great experience, but I probably wouldn't do it like that the second time around. And so I've seen my weight come all the way back to about 185 pounds, where I felt really good, and that was on a fully plant-based diet. Let's see, I spent about 3.5 months this this year, from January to a little ways into March, doing a coconut water fast. I got down to about 153 pounds. I began the journey at around 185. I ended the fast with a bit of water fasting and dry fasting, so I shed probably half the weight that I lost within like a week and a half with the water and dry fasting, where I maintained my weight extremely well. Like, I remember the first 40 something days I'd only lost like maybe 7 pounds or so. So the weight loss is all relevant to how toxic our body is. If our body is extremely toxic, we're gonna shed weight extremely fast. So we can gauge this with different cleansing modalities. Maybe we don't want to detoxify as fast, so we do more green juice and more greens and cooked mucusless foods, because we're still cleansing the body. It's just at a slower pace. Sometimes we need to slow down, or sometimes we're feeling in tune to speed it up. It's all a feeling-based approach. I feel now that it's more complementary for me to be less in my head and more on a feeling level. For example, with the coconut water fast, I didn't plan it. I didn't force myself mentally. It wasn't a grind. It was extremely pleasant. It was feeling based. I had an intention of going, X amount of days, and I didn't go that long. It came to a day where I was like, I'm ready to break the fast. And so it's all a transition. The weight will fluctuate. Like Candy said, the body will find its ideal weight. We just want to give it the proper environment and love ourselves, treat ourselves well. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning into that. Candy, do you have anything else to add?
Oh, don't be afraid of how much weight you may lose, or becoming, or excessive thinness. I know for myself, I started probably at about 140. I probably lost about 20 pounds, but it didn't concern me at all. I knew that it's just part of the cleansing process. You got to tear down before you build back up. And I had some malabsorption issues, so I wanted to address that, and the chronic stagnant lymphatic system, just systemic acidosis, basically. And, yeah, I think that's about all I want to say. There again, trust your body. And
cool. Yeah, and I'd like to add just a couple minutes. So yeah, once again, the benefit of breaking down these weak tissues is that we'll be able to rebuild this tissue very efficiently and effectively, and it's going to be very, very strong. Like, even for me, I got to the point where I was so malabsorbed, I was consuming like 4,000 calories a day in animal flesh and trying to do bodybuilding, and I wasn't able to really put on weight. I just kind of swelled up. I was so malabsorbed. Whereas once I cleansed my digestive tract and ate a fully plant-based diet, I gained weight and muscle exponentially quicker. Like, as much muscle as I gained, over a couple years of lifting weights consistently, I gained in a matter of a few months, it seemed. And so it's about letting go of what's not serving us, so we can basically build a stronger, more efficient, healthier body. Thanks, guys.
all right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.